Time waits for no one. All are equal in its flow, all lives born to its end. Everyone is given a short time to live their lives to the fullest.
You, viewer, are no different. Being stuck in the endless branches of life, you wander and search for meaning. You must make memories and experience all that life has to offer.
Before you watch this video, we need you to sign a contract. This contract states that in the short time that you live, you will do everything within your power to live your life to the fullest. Sign this and join us in this journey. Welcome everyone to a special episode of the Fetch Quest podcast, where we talk about video games and more. I am your host, Guy, joined by my fellow co-host, Brewer.
Hello, everybody.
Connor.
Hello.
And returning special guest, Julian.
Hello, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. Really excited to talk about what is my favorite game of all time.
Oh yeah, we're very happy to have you on, Julian.
What's the game, Julian? Say what the game is.
So the game for today, if you haven't guessed already, is Persona 3 Reload.
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Let's go.
I'm actually so happy.
I'm very excited for this episode. I've been looking forward to this for so long.
As of recording this, we have all of us have played Persona 3 Reload, and we oh my god, this game. I'm just gonna outright say it's one of my favorites, and I'm so glad that all of us have experienced what is like Persona 3 through this remake. And I'm glad we get to talk about it now because the answer is coming out very soon, so we get to talk about that before it comes out.
Yeah, as of right now, Persona 3 Reload is sitting at my number 4 favorite game of all time.
Wait, really? Wait, is it overtaking 5?
No, P5R is number 3, P3R is number 4.
Completely valid.
As for me right now, it's still like a 50-50 which one I like more, because I like some aspects of one over another, so like either way, they're both peak.
Yeah.
3 just for very different reasons though, because like its story, like I love 5's story, especially with the end with Royal, but like 3's really gripped me the whole way, and then it's like kind of just the lessons it taught with like just living your life to the fullest and whatnot. Many of its other lessons were just very important to me.
There are 2 very, very small reasons why I think P5R is better, and it's that I like how the story of P5R gets set in motion a bit faster than P3R, because I love P3R, but it does take a good amount of time for the story to really start kicking it in. And I do think it's because I played P5R first. I think the characters are just slightly better, but like it is literally like microscopic levels of like better. Yeah, I still think all the characters are great, except for a certain one in P3R, but we don't talk about him.
We'll get to him, don't worry.
We'll get to him later. I think before that, though, how about we just do a short little explanation on Persona 3 for those who aren't in the know?
Julian, would you like to explain?
Should do it, yeah.
Yeah, sure thing. P3 is, as I said before, my favorite game of all time. And so something to note about P3 is this is the 3rd installment in the Persona series. Well, actually, funny thing I say about that is the 4th installment of the Persona series, which it gets tricky. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but basically, this is the start of what many people consider the modern day Persona games. The older games are Persona 1, Persona 2, and Persona 2's Innocent Sin. This kind of changed the old Persona formula into a newer format. Specifically, we now have a dual time shift between spending your time in the real world as a high school student and then spending the other half in these dungeons where, you're figuring out stuff, and so that's sort of how modern Persona is nowadays. So what I like a lot about Persona 3 is, it it's not afraid to express itself. It from the get-go, it shows this blue theme to show itself as different and unique from the other games, and it's a much darker game. The game revolves around you playing as the main character Makoto, going through a large tower known as Tartarus during the Dark Hour. The Dark Hour is a secret hour that occurs where everyone becomes a coffin late at night at 12 o'clock, and only those with the potential don't become a coffin, while everything around them becomes really dark and eerie. It sounds kind of weird, but trust me, you play it, you'll understand very quickly. So you balance that mechanic with, again, your school life, and the game's main focus is about building relationships, and it goes very well with the theme of the story. So that's generally like the brief overview of the game.
Yeah, it's just there's a split with the modern Persona games between just the social life aspects where you're just living your life, going to school, hanging out with your friends and whatnot, and then later on you just have the dungeon crawling aspects where you're climbing this tower, you fight enemies, you use your persona. Just there's always just a very fine balance between them, but none never feels like it overtakes another way too much, which is just what I really love about the games.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think
you first.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say I think another reason why it works so well is that with Tartarus, the way that it works is that you can sort of handle Tartarus at your own pace. You know, you're not really required to go there except for very few days. So it's like if you want to do a certain thing one night, it's like you don't really have to worry about Tartarus, because not only is it, I'm gonna be fairly honest, it's pretty easy to clear out the levels, the different like floors and stuff. It's pretty easy to just rush through them. But you know, if you want to take it slow and do like a few floors a day, or you want to be a Giga Chad like me and do all the floors in one day on the first day, then you can do that. And it's I think it's a really cool way to do that gameplay.
Oh, for sure. Especially with how Tartarus is designed, where technically you don't even need to do Tartarus until the, later on in the game. Technically you don't even need to do Tartarus at all, but in order to stay at the, main level, you should go to Tartarus, because every full moon there's a boss fight, and if you don't go to Tartarus, you're going to be very underleveled and very unprepared for
you're
boss
clapped.
fight. So yeah, highly recommend go to Tartarus, clear out those blocks before that full moon.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's like the main thing with like the modern Persona games, is that like you have to balance out the social life, which is how you upgrade your stats, your social links, your social stats, which will let you have more access to other social links. The social aspects of the game, they help you with increasing your stats in the dungeon crawling, and you have to do the dungeon crawling to be properly leveled for the dated events, i.e. like the boss fights and the stuff to go forward. Like if you want to be properly leveled, do Tartarus. There are side quests in the game that are tied to Tartarus, so you are like, if you want to do everything, you are forced to go back and forth between real world and Tartarus, which just adds to like the aspect of you need to manage your time correctly in order to do everything and experience everything in this game, which is just one of my favorite parts about the modern Persona games. I love time management. It's so much fun.
For sure, and I think one of the coolest parts about 3 in particular was this game was made due to the limitations of the PS2 at the time. But I'd argue that sometimes with limitations, you can have the most creativity. So what I mean by that is Tartarus is randomly generated. There's tons of floors, over 200 floors in Tartarus, and they are all randomly generated. Now, the way this game works is, as we said, you go to Tartarus and you live your day to day, going to school and whatnot. It reuses the same environments, the same, characters, like not like a very traditional RPG where you're going to be continuing to explore, a big land or something. So I think that the limitation caused a really cool creativity that caused this nice split to happen, where you split your day, half going to school and then half going to Tartarus, but
Yeah.
it's really like revolutionized modern Persona.
Yeah, because I don't think any of the aspects would work on their own. They only work so well when they work as a system together, just like a human body.
Yeah, and something I guess to go further on about, like, just quickly go on about that, like, whole further, or like the limitations being able to help you push further and create something truly great. I think that's another great example of that would be like Majora's Mask, because Majora's Mask, like, infamously had so much like crap going on behind on development, and yet it's one of the best Zelda games of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I love that you brought up Majora's Mask. I see so many parallels between this game and Majora's Mask. I just had to say that.
No, yeah.
Oh yeah, with looming death.
I've played both of them, and there's so many like little like parallels that I also noticed. I was like, man, they're both peak.
When are we gonna get the Persona 3 and Majora's Mask collaboration?
Dude, that goes so hard.
Yeah, just replace Tartarus with the clock tower.
Oh my god, yeah. But getting back to the limitations thing, I do definitely agree with that, because like I think there's a lot of games that I so dearly love that were made on like RPG Maker, the like one of the crappiest little engines known to man. Like people have gotten a lot out of that engine, but like it's kind of just meant to be a beginner engine to just like kind of help people get into game development. But there's so many fantastic games that have been made with that have like touched people in so many different ways.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and it's like, God, I'm glad that we're able to experience this now, because like you said, Julian, there were a lot of limitations at the time for this game. Like, for one, it was on the PS2, which, don't get me wrong, for the time it was a powerful system, but it's just like, if you wanted to go back and play this game, especially since Persona 4 and Persona 5 blew up like fucking crazy, it was hard for people to go and play Persona 3, hence why a remake was requested so much. And Atlas answered us, and that is how we, our little gamers we are, got Persona 3 Reload.
Oh yeah.
To which I think we should start transitioning into topics about like what exactly this remake does different compared to the base game of Persona 3 and Persona 3 Fez. Which, you'd be surprised, there's a fuck ton.
Yeah, before we do get into that, I do want to bring up the, like, one, like, in my opinion, the actual, like, a very big negative about this game, which, it doesn't impact, I still think this game's a 10 out of 10, but it is something that sucks, is that it is not a definitive edition of Persona 3. Persona 3
is a big point.
Is notoriously one of the very few games that just doesn't have, it has like 4 different versions including Reload, yet it doesn't have a definitive edition of those.
Yeah, that really sucks.
Yeah,
I do think Reload is probably just going to be the best way for people to play, especially since like accessibility, it's on all modern systems and whatnot. I mean, like portable is as well, but we'll just ignore that one for now compared to the new shiny one.
I just wanted to get that out of the way, because I think it's just best to get the like very like elephant in the room negative sort of thing out of the way.
Yeah,
I
think it's short. Let's just explain to the audience. There's 4 different versions of Persona 3. There was the original. There was Fez that released a little later. It added on the extra post-game content, The Answer, and made some changes and whatnot to the base game. There was Portable, which released on the PSP, which very much changed up the whole game. Like all the main life sections are now more in a visual novel style. There isn't a 3D world to explore, but you can still explore Tartarus as normal, to my knowledge. And it also included a entirely new female protagonist with new social links and completely new interactions based on the fact that it's a new female protagonist. And then we have Persona 3 Reload, the modern remake that doesn't include some stuff. It doesn't include Femc from Portable, and it has some of the changes in Fez are not present. It's more so based on the original version, minus a couple of things that we'll get into later. It's more so just supposed to be like the new shiny way to play the game. Modern graphics, new music, updated visuals, whatnot, quality of life improvements, but with a couple of major changes from the base systems.
Yeah, I think Persona 3 Reload is for sure the most definitive edition to play, but that doesn't mean like everything you get is perfect. You are missing out stuff from the other versions of Persona 3, and like you said, Connor, it's like 4 different versions, which is really funny, but like it's crazy. But because each version has a few things that are distinct from each other, that you do lose out on. But Persona 3 Reload, kind of is the most modern way to play the game, which comes with fixed goods and which comes with fixed bags. Now, the biggest one is the controlled party members, which was notorious, like a really difficult thing to get through as a Persona 3 or Persona 3 Fest enjoyer, was that you could not control your party members. You could manipulate them in ways, with your tactics to do certain actions, but that was the best you were gonna get. Now you can finally, use your party members, and the game has been, for lack of better words, Persona 5'd in several ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to note real quick with the tactics, I did try that out for a little bit on some Tartarus floors, just like trying to use the tactics like the original. God, I'm glad we have controlled party, because there were so many times I would like, okay, I want you to focus on the soul, I want you to focus on healing. Yukari fucking shoots the enemy, and the other one tries a status effect that will literally do nothing. I'm like, what the fuck is this? This bullshit.
People who have played the FES or
Marin
Vanilla,
Karen.
Yeah, they will know the struggles of Marin Karen. Oh my god. But yes, so for lack of better words, the game has been Persona 5'd in several ways, which comes with some goods and comes with some bags, in my opinion. Now, the biggest bad, in my opinion, is it kind of takes away a little bit from the identity of the game. Persona 3 is a lot darker, a lot more moody and stuff, and it's not very reflected well in Reload, in my opinion, for some aspects. You have things being a little overly saturated in ways that, kind of take away from like the moody aspects. A great example of this is Iwatodai Dorm. In the original compared to Reload, the difference is very drastic there with like X lighting and stuff, because if you haven't guessed by now, Persona 3 is a very depressing game. But with the nice stuff, the combat's a lot better. You have your new baton pass, which is way more enjoyable to play the game and actually do the combat, because as someone who still really liked Fez, the gameplay was such a slog to get through. And it feels so much better, even if it has become a lot easier, which we can maybe talk about later on. The game feels a lot more fun to play and a lot more enjoyable as such.
Yeah, well, we'll say with having the randomized floors and whatnot, I think like the quicker pace of the combat, especially with the new baton pass system being implemented, I think is at least definitely a good change. Just like help with that general slog, because like Tartarus floors can be fun to explore, but there does come a point where you're like, oh my god, this is so fucking annoying.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially with there being 200 plus.
Oh god, You're right. I think it's also just the nature of like the floors themselves being randomly generated, that it's like you've already seen this before, because like you're seeing the same assets, what enemies are in this area, yada yada. It's just like, okay, cool, can I get to the next like mini boss at this point?
Yeah, I will say Reload did an excellent job of making the new blocks more unique. In the original, they kind of remained the same, except with like its visual difference. For example, some blocks might be purple instead of green and stuff like that. Though Reload did a great job of distinguishing itself between the blocks and adding a lot more new features that, in my opinion, it come inspired from Persona 5. We saw like a lot of more uniqueness to Tartarus in terms of like what you can enjoy and stuff. So there is that sort of stuff that's included.
Yeah, that and just some of the more randomized elements they added in to just not make it as repetitive, just to throw you off your feet a little.
Yeah, for sure.
Like enemies with like random status elements, or like greedy hands coming by, so a chance to like get a lot of EXP and money, dark floors as well, and then monads doors as well to add some like risk reward in there.
Yeah, it makes it less repetitive.
The monad doors are one of my favorite additions. I always loved doing those whenever they would appear.
Yeah, they did get a bit repetitive after a while, but I still think it was like it was still good overall to have, because you got a guaranteed good reward from doing it, but there was the risk of just like there is a pretty strong enemy in there.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most welcome changes in my opinion for Tartarus.
Oh yeah, I think while we're mentioning Tartarus, do we want to go into the combat a little bit?
Yeah,
I think
sure thing.
Because we haven't really explained too much about why it's called Persona, so I think that'd be a good topic to run into.
Yeah. So combat is pretty straightforward, just like the other Persona games. Every party member, aside from the main character, has access to a persona. The main character has access to multiple personas. Each persona has its own strength and weakness against other types. So think of it, the best way I like to, kind of make it easier to explain is think of it exactly like Pokemon. You have your water types who are weak to grass, that sort of stuff. Very similar here in Persona, and just like, the Pokemon
but instead of Pikachu, you have Satan.
Exactly! You can summon Satan instead of Pikachu.
Satan, I choose you!
So that's what the main character does. The main character always has the wild card, which allows them to summon multiple personas, which you can do that by, getting them in what this game has, the mechanic called Shuffle Time, or by fusing personas, which means you take two personas and combine them into one persona, or take even multiple personas and combine them together and to create one persona. So that mechanic can get really fun and addicting, to min-max, like, who's going to be my healer, how am I going to deal the most amount of damage with a physical attacker.
Yeah, the combat is fairly standard JRPG-ish, but there are the little elements they add like on top of each other that add up to just make it fully unique and to make it just quick and enjoyable. Like for normal random battles, a lot of times you're going to be focusing on just targeting weaknesses, so you can do an all-out attack once enemies are all knocked down. You have your baton pass, which once you hit an enemy's weakness, you can pass it on to another party member to like just kind of keep that chain rolling. And then also you just have your standard stuff as well, like just your own weaknesses that you have to watch out for and cover when an enemy tries to strike them. You have your general healers in the group that try to keep the party, not dead. And then just your attackers as well, and then stat buffing.
Yeah, I can really speak to the whole like gameplay being addictive thing, because it took me so long to beat P3R because I would spend so much time just mindlessly grinding Tartarus. Like I was addicted to just going and running around the different floors and killing shadows and stuff like that.
I think part
you
of
were
that
really addicted to Tartarus.
Yeah,
I think
I was, and it kind of like I'm going to say it kind of bit me in the ass because none of the fights were hard. Okay, God, I don't know how to tell this story without. Okay, I'm gonna try and tell this story without spoiling it. One of the final fights in the game, I was playing on normal difficulty, and
first mistake, playing on normal difficulty. This game is easy as fuck.
Okay, first of all, I didn't.
It is easy as fuck.
I didn't know it was gonna be easy as fuck, and I always have a rule with myself to play on like normal difficulty when I do a new game. Because in my opinion, normal difficulty is the developer's intent when making a game. That is the intended way you're supposed to play. So that's what I did. And I if I do it, and when I do go to do another playthrough, I will choose Merciless. But one of the final fights in the game, it really speaks to how easy it is, because the enemy AI used 4 attacks, missed, and then when it used 4 attacks in a row and missed, and then when it tried to actually hit me with one and did hit, it used it on a character that was null to the attack. And I was laughing my ass off. Guy was there. It was hilarious.
That shit was insane. Like, okay, I already knew that the AI at times could be pretty fucking questionable in terms of like why it's hitting, my null or like the things I'm not weak to over and over and over again. But the final fucking boss, the thing that you've been playing like 90 to 100 hours for just to like get to, hits you like doesn't hit you like 4 times in a fucking row, then nulls. Like, dude, you had the easiest fucking time in that game, and it's all because you would just spend hours upon hours in Tartarus.
Okay,
we were saying Persona needs a balance with this gameplay. I would say it'd be like a 50-50 for Connor. It was more like an 80-20 with 80% being Tartarus.
Bro was not studying for his exams.
But that's crazy. I aced all my exams too, which is the hilarious part. But
Bro did not riz up any of the female party members. That's all I'm saying.
That is actually no. I did riz up Fuka.
Okay, sorry. 2 of them he did not riz up. But oh my god, Connor, that's so fucking funny.
I want a quick addendum. It wasn't the final fight. The final fight was actually like. I'm not gonna say it was too hard, but it was actually a little challenging for the game. But I still find that story so funny because, what the fuck?
Jesus.
Yeah, but going back to the combat, I think one of its benefits, similar to Persona 5, is just like how much eye candy it is to just watch a battle. It's always visually appealing. There's always like really cool animations going on, and the all-out attacks never get old, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, especially with the new artwork that's like reminiscent of good old Persona 5.
Yeah,
but it's good. The all-out attacks, I like the end cards on them.
Yeah. So I think we're ready to talk about the new mechanic.
I do want to mention as well for the combat. It's not just eye candy. There is also the ear candy.
Oh,
we'll get into the ear candy a little more later, but dude, the music is so fucking good, especially for Tartarus. Really, It's Going Down Now is such a catchy song.
I think there's just a rule in Persona, at least modern Persona games, that you just can't mess up the UI. The UI is so good in every game. Even like the spin-offs, like Striker's UI is so like pretty.
I was gonna say music too, because like they almost never miss with the soundtrack.
There's a rule, like a secret rule in video games, that for certain franchises you just can't fuck up the music no matter how bad the game is. Xenoblade always has great music, Pokemon always has great music, and Persona always has great music.
Truing. But I think the thing I want to talk about was the last big mechanic in terms of battle, which was recently added into Reload. It is the new Theurgy mechanic.
I am so mixed on them.
I think we all have many opinions on.
I actually have 0 opinions. I think they're great and I think they're fun. That's my opinion. I don't.
You had the easiest fight of all time. Your opinion is the easiest fight of all time. You played on normal.
I do not care if they're broken and shit. I think they're awesome and fun.
So my problems with the mechanic, in my opinion, is as we stated before, this game is a lot easier than its original. And now, while a lot of it could be contributed towards the fact that, you can control your party members, that isn't entirely the case whenever Persona 3 Portable was a game that you could control your party members, and it still was a lot more difficult. Now, you did not have a Baton Pass in that game, but Theurgy, in my opinion, just makes fights way too easy, and makes fights always have a win condition no matter the cause. So what a Theurgy is it's your big limit attack, if that makes sense. If you played Final Fantasy or something like that, you have your nice big attack that you gain from, meeting, certain criterias in a battle, and then you're ready to use it. Each character can use a Theurgy if the requirements are met, and by requirements met, it's just a bar that goes up. Now, the problems I have with Theurgy is it's a little too strong. So, support Theurgys normally support the entire, cast with a lot of really strong buffs, which I don't mind too much. What I do mind is more of the damaging Theurgy, which just completely nullify the effects of the of what you're trying to battle. So for example, if you have a fire theurgy attack, you can use that fire theurgy attack against an enemy that is designed to nullify fire, which makes the fight kind of less fun in my opinion, because the design of the fight is you're supposed to struggle with the fact that it's, you know, resistant to fire.
Yeah, I think what the biggest problem with the Theurgies is, like, they basically give everyone in the party and the character not only just super powerful moves that do a lot of damage, but they're moves that have no restrictions, because they're basically all almighty attacks, but with the added benefit of they still have an element to them.
Yes.
So they can still hit weaknesses and whatnot, but even if they don't hit the weakness, it just acts as an almighty attack and just hits through anything, no matter what.
There's
there's
no
not enough
what.
risk reward there. If
Yeah.
you throw out that attack on an enemy that, like, you don't know the weakness of, you don't have to be like, oh man, I could get hit by this, that would be bad, or oh, they could heal.
And
It's just more so fuck it, we ball energy.
And I hate to again bring up Persona 5 into this as well, but like I feel like, you know, modern Atlas is going through this route where they want to add these like really cool, you know, fight mechanics that have, you know, zero risk and just reward. You know, the thing I want to bring up is obviously Showtime from Persona 5 Royal and how it acts much like that.
They wanted an excuse to make cool flashy animations with the characters, but they didn't exactly think about how to implement them well and balance them out.
Yeah.
No, not at all. It's really sad too, because like the Theurgy like system is a very fun system. I love like the limit. Like I guess like the terminology for this would be like a limit system in RPGs. Like, and like this is going back to like what Julian said. Like it started with Final Fantasy, where if you met a certain requirement, doing damage, taking damage, yada yada, you would act as an ultimate attack. I think the concept of it is very fun when done right, but it creates such a skewed like difficulty curve in terms of like how you're supposed to win the fights. It's just not as fun. Like your usual win condition in Persona and like all the Persona games is you need to strike the enemy's weaknesses so that you can perform an all-out attack, so that you not only can you do more damage, but you can also end the fight earlier and gain more experience. That's the main back and forth. The problem though with Theurgies is that it eliminates the idea of having to finish the fight with an all-out attack. It's just more so go for the big super power move, win the fight instantly, including boss fights.
Yeah.
Julian was there for a good amount of my late game boss fights,
Yes.
and he saw how powerful some of these Theurgies were, even on Merciless mode, which is the difficulty that I played on. Highest difficulty, by the way.
The hardest difficulty.
I'm not gonna lie, easy. Easy
Yeah.
as fuck. Easy as fuck. And
Dude, I
was
regretted playing on
hardest
very
difficulty.
hard instead of merciless because I breezed through the game. It felt like a small ant was trying to hit my characters every time I was playing, and then I hit that ant with a fucking nuke every time.
Literally, hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby.
Literally. Because even the
Actually,
final
though.
boss that has like multiple phases, I could easily get through like an entirety of one of its phases with like a single attack without a lot of prep because of the Theurgies. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is this? So
Yeah.
busted.
It is like kind of like a controversial like mechanic. I'm very mixed on it because like visually they are fantastic and they add a lot to like the characterization and a lot to like just the combat and like what you can do, but they're really overtuned. And I feel like if Atlas is to go further with like creating difficult games or like trying to make a balanced combat, they need to like take a step back and like think of the applications of like what these big powerful moves can do. Showtimes in Persona 5 Royal I think were done really shittily. I don't think they were. That's a new word.
Yeah, no, they were.
Shittily.
I did not like how Showtimes were. I like the animations.
Oh, the
I didn't
animations
like-
are great, but it's
I didn't like the conditions being like kind of random.
press the button to win.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
no drawbacks.
It just
But-
it just completely breaks like what you've been taught at that point of the game, and it sucks. But it is like it is a thing that's a part of the game, unfortunately, that you will have to experience. But that doesn't detract from like everything else there is, because
Yeah,
holy shit, this game is good. Like
For sure.
I want to talk about this next, the social aspects and some of the social links.
Oh my god, I love him so much.
The most fictional part of Persona 3 Reload, because all Persona players have no friends.
True.
Exactly. I hate all of you guys so much.
They're the
That
most
is indeed
acquaintances to me. Especially you guys, since you won't beat Prime 1.
Oh,
Yeah, please beat that game.
I will.
Will
But
you?
I will. But yeah, no, going back on like the modern Persona thing, the social aspects of the game series, primarily the modern Persona series, like I just said, is having to do the social life aspects. But what do we mean by that? So getting into it a little bit more, the social life aspects of Persona 3 Reload deals with you as a high school student forming friendships with people from all over town that you wouldn't even expect. Of course, you have like your classmates and club members that you would form friendships with, but then there are just some that are also just really kooky and wacky, like a very famous con man or a drunken monk. It's absurd,
Yeah.
yes, but trust me, it's good. It's really good.
Yeah. I think all the social links are good except for one, but we don't talk about that one.
Not yet, at least.
Yeah.
But the reason why you would do these social links is because they are tied to something called the Arcana system from, like, tarot cards. When you upgrade your social links, you will gain experience bonuses for personas that you fuse of that matching Arcana. So there's an incentive to do it because you get more powerful personas as the game goes on. But also, these stories can be pretty investing, and honestly, you want to see where these characters go, and you want to see them succeed. Some of them, I would argue, are some of the best written like side stories in all of video games, and it's completely optional, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I'd argue that Persona's 3's identity mainly comes from a social link aspect because of the moral and messages of the game, if that makes sense.
Oh, definitely.
So
for
while
sure.
you can definitely choose, it is an option to completely ignore all these social links and, go to sleep every night. That is an option you can do. I highly wouldn't recommend that because you are missing a good chunk of the story. These characters are all have their own story, and a lot of them might strike a chord with you. A lot of these characters that aren't even in the main party. I think about them a lot every time I think about this game and what it means, and the grand scheme of what it means to even just hang out with people and do an activity with people.
Yeah, a lot of the social links, like, they're very relatable, or even when they're not, they just bring up good questions into, like, again, how you want to live, but also the people around you as well. Because Persona 3 is very focused on, like, the bonds that you make with your friends, the importance of that, and the people around you. So, like, you get a benefit in the game from, like, ranking up these social links with combat, but also the stories are just really fucking fire. So, like, you have so much incentivation to do it that, like, you want to do them all, but again, you only have so much time, just like in real life. So there is that balance as well, like, just trying to spend as much time as you can with the short life you have with all these different people.
Yeah.
Exactly, man.
What are some of your guys' favorite social links?
Mine.
Ooh.
Ooh, that's hard, and I can't even say because I haven't technically done all of them.
Well, at least the ones we all did.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first, Connor.
I think if I had to say my favorite one out of the ones I did, it's probably either Aegis's or I think it's Aegis's. Aegis is like now one of my like top 3 favorite characters in fiction, and that's
Aegis is such a good character.
Oh, yeah,
So
that's
good.
I've got lists. I've got lists on hand for this stuff. Like, yeah, she's number 3 right now, barely above Mr. Akechi.
Oh yeah, dude, Akechi had the craziest glow up.
Dude, it's like I constantly go between my head on like which of the two do I like more. It's like, do I like the robot girl or do I like the gay detective?
I think Akechi has some higher peaks, but like I think overall maybe I would rate Igus a little higher, especially for how much he does tie into the overall story.
Mm-hmm.
God, they're both so good. I think one of my favorite social links is Akinari. Like he's not one of the main party members, but he has such a touching story. I don't want to spoil his too much because it has a very sad but beautiful end. At the end of the social link, once you see his story, the stuff he's going through, he's such a well-written character, and I was so invested in him. And just seeing everything play out was just so touching.
Yeah,
that's definitely
easily for me. Him and Igus for me.
Yeah, well, he also very strongly ties into the story as well, so I think that does help, especially with the ending.
Yeah, I think all the party members are like peak. Like
they're all fantastic.
Yeah.
They really are. Some of my favorite social links, like besides like Akinara and Igus, would probably have to be just some of the like ones you wouldn't really like think about, like the old couple, Mitsuko and Bukichi. I think they have a fantastic story about like moving on with life and like letting things go so that they can benefit others. I think is a fantastic story that they do. I love the rival athlete Hayase. I love fucking what is Mitsuru's?
Maiko?
Mitsuru's about her like being more well adjusted to her surroundings, and also just her trying to get away from like her business, which I'm not going to go into any further than that, but like just they do such a good job. But if we're being for real, my favorite one is Kenji because he tries to fuck his teacher, and I support that.
How do we know?
Of course you would.
I'm surprised he didn't bring up Maiko. Maiko had such a good story.
Oh my god, I completely forgot about her. Oh my fuck.
She's great.
No, I'm fake. I'm fake as hell.
You're a
oh
fake
my god,
Maiko
no,
fan.
that one made me like rethink my life. Holy shit.
I feel like all of these social links, like there's so many of them that like at least one of them will be like pretty relatable or strike a chord.
Yeah, it'll really resonate with you.
Which is the coolest part in my opinion. And it's always like different ones for different people.
Yeah. I think the writers do just do a really good job of portraying these fictional characters as real people with real problems. And it's like, God, they all have their quirks and everything about them, but it's like when you get down to their like the meat and the bones of like who they are as people, it's just you connect with them so well. And like I said, they feel like real people.
Yeah, I think how grounded they are just makes it that much easier to connect with them, because like they have issues that you yourself would have outside of your normal life, so you're experiencing this in a game, having a character you can relate to, and then also seeing them grow and blossom and figure their issues out, and it kind of just gives you the inspiration to like, now you can go finally live your life to the fullest like the game's telling you to, and hopefully maybe find your own resolution. Maybe it won't be perfect, but you'll be able to walk forward.
Exactly.
Yeah, living my life to the fullest is beating my games.
Oh my lord.
Yeah.
We're not gonna let you forget me, guy.
But with Persona 3, one thing I do want to bring up is, since we're on the topic of social links, all of the social links in Persona 3 compared to Persona 4 and Persona 5 are all voiced. This is a Reload exclusive thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's such a good change, because you know you just get so much more like emotion even in like the middling bits, because that was a problem. Not a problem, but it was a nitpick I had with P5R. I love the characters in that story, but the fact that they are only voiced, that their confidants are only voiced in the first one and then the last one, was always just something that like always icked me, because it's like I don't know. And now that you know they're all fully voiced, it's such a good change, and I'm so glad they did that, because it just gives so much more like glimpses into character and personality with how they say certain things, and the sort of tones and stuff like that, because kind of hard to tell tone when you're reading a text, but when you've got that voice, it's a lot easier to tell.
Yeah, well, I think just having that human emotion conveyed to you just through voice makes it that much easier to connect with the characters. Because, dude, the voice actors all did such a fucking fantastic job with this game. I cannot state that enough. Like, I don't think there's a single bad voice in the game. All of them fulfill their roles perfectly.
Yeah, even
fucking Gourmet King.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I don't blame the voice actor for that because he wasn't the one who wrote the script.
Yeah,
he had to go with it.
I don't like Gourmet King, but I still think the voice actor did, what they were supposed to. As Bruce said, they're not the ones who wrote the script. They're just, saying what they're supposed to say. And I think they did a pretty good job of, getting across how much of a whiny little bitch he is.
It's just such a welcome change in general, though. Like, giving voices to these characters gives them a lot more personality. I think one of the standout ones is actually Yuko. In the original game, she kind of was a very kind of whatever character, for lack of better words, but a lot of people really, really enjoyed her this time around in Reload because she was a lot more expressive. And I will say, I think she, out of the social links, she has one of the best voice acting.
Yuko's voice actor is great.
She's so good. She fixed the role so well, and I'm glad I wasn't the only one who thought this, because I've seen multiple people talk about it, and I'm glad they share the same sentiment.
Yeah, her voice work alone has made her like one of my more favorite characters in the game. Like, it's just such a great performance for what is a side character,
Yeah.
Dude, I would love if I could get to meet some of the voice actors for these characters someday, like get their autograph, but also shake their hands and be like, you did a damn good job. The main party too. Like, I loved all the members of the main party so much.
I would love to get Alex Lee's autograph.
His Rolls Ryoji was really good.
Yeah, I've already got one Persona character autograph, and it's Takemi, because Guy was a G and got it for me while he was at GalaxyCon.
Dude, my copy of Persona 5 has 3 different autographs on it. One for Takemi, one for Akechi, and one for Ryuji.
Guy also got me an autograph.
Oh yeah, for Sketchy Akechi.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that. That was so cool.
If I was gonna get any other autographs, it'd be probably Aegis's VA and Akechi's VA.
Yeah,
those are the two that.
Dude, Akechi, shout out to Robbie Damon for being based. We got to meet him and talk to him in person. He was so cool.
Oh yeah,
and a Max Middleman as well.
If you guys haven't seen it on the Fetch Quest shorts, you can see the funny question that was asked to him.
So true.
Oh, yes. Me and Brewer got to ask Robbie Damon a question about a game
Their
that
new game,
Max Middleman, and Ray Chase have been developing for a few years now. So if you want to see what we asked, go check in the short down below. But
there we go.
Oh God, they do a really good job. Like, going back into the voice acting, God, they do such a good job with what the material that they're given, and that goes not only just past the social links, but also just the party members themselves. And I have to give it to the VAs for just giving it their all with these characters, because there are just moments where they give it their all, and you feel the emotion of these characters and their strive, and to a point that I was tearing up at multiple points throughout the story, especially the fucking ending. Oh my God, that broke me.
Oh, the ending is one of the best endings in video games ever.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's hard to put into words, just all the emotions you feel at the ending, but it's just beautiful. That's the simplest thing I can say for it.
Yeah. One thing I'd like to note though, on that point is how hard that was, because you have to understand that Persona 3 already had its identity with its own original voice acting cast. Reload brought a new cast, which was a lot harder for older fans to transition into, but the voice acting was done so well that older fans were able to completely be fine with these newer voices taking on the roles of the beloved characters from this game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know that was a little bit of a controversy when it was revealed that the original VAs were not coming back, especially Yuri Lowenthal as Makoto Yuki. I know that was a big one for people, but I feel like that's kind of like died down now because like you said, even the veteran fans like just admit like the performances are just so fucking good.
Yeah, what I really like with the Persona games, how like they've given a lot of different voice actors too that haven't had as many major roles a chance to really shine. Like obviously you do have some ones that like have been in more major roles, like Alex Lee, like he's Luke from Street Fighter 6, so like not a minor role.
Sandblast.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how he voices like Luke, a very what's the best way of words? A very peppy character, I guess, or
hot-headed and peppy.
very loud.
He's a shit poster. He's a shit poster.
Yeah, and then you have Ryoji, who's like very quiet and somber through like a lot of his interactions.
And then he's also going to be voicing Batman in an upcoming DC project.
Oh yeah, he is.
That's crazy.
Imagine Batman pulls out his bat gun and then goes Persona.
He like has a bat like weapon and he just goes Sandblast, Sandblast.
He summons his Persona. It's Alfred.
True. True.
Go Alfred, beat his ass.
Persona. Alfred used teapot spill. Does fire damage.
Oh my god. No, but like, okay, we do make fun of like the lines and whatnot, but like that just goes to show like how iconic they are. Like at least to us.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think now is a good time to talk about two things: social links and the linked episodes. So since we're talking about VA stuff and these are all voiced. So one thing to note about Persona 3 Reload and FES and the original is the only party members that have social links are the female party members. And this is because these the female party members are characters you can date. Now in Persona 3 Portable, there are male party social links if you pick the female protagonist.
Because they are dateable.
Because then the male parties, members are dateable.
Because lesbians do not exist in the world of Persona.
But
They're not canon.
to mediate that sort of, Reload brought upon what are called these linked episodes, which are sort of mini social links for the male party members in Reload.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they give us like an opportunity to see like to get like more of an idea of what the male party members are thinking at that time in the story, as well as just giving us more time to spend with them. Not saying that we don't spend enough time with them in the story, because we do. We do get like a very good idea of like how they are in the story. It just gives us like a little extra for us to think about when we think about their character and like what they're going through throughout the story.
Yeah, I will say before we get into the full linked episodes thing, I was very surprised like how much I ended up liking a lot of the party members for them not having social links. Like Junpei, like dude, I love Junpei so much, but like he doesn't even have a full social link like Ryuji, who is also my goat.
Yeah.
And, like I was very surprised because going into it, I was like, oh, that's kind of disappointing. There's no social link for the characters. I can't spend as much time with them. But I still, like, even without the linked episodes, I still feel like I spent as much time with those characters, and they still made bonds with your character like that were as tight as any of the other party members from the other games.
Oh, for sure.
And a part of me does realize why they didn't, make the like they didn't take the new like they didn't take the female social links and then just like retool them a bit and put them in the new game and Reload, because it wouldn't be built because then you'd have so many social links that it'd be insane.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing I wanted to bring up about linked episodes is that like the reason why they didn't do male and female social links is because the game has a very strict calendar system. We were not kidding when we said you had to manage your time correctly. You have a limited amount of time to do everything. If you don't get it, okay, tough luck. You fucked up. And the thing is, sure, they could just add more social links, but the problem is that they just can't, because the game was already designed around a calendar system that gave you enough time to max out all your social stats and also do all the confidants with a little bit of leeway in between.
Yeah, and
so if you were to add like 5 more like social links with like full-on time commitment, it just wouldn't work.
Yeah, and also, it's not like they could do something that P5R did with third semester, because the stories are just too different that it just would not work.
Well, specifically with the elements at the end, it very much does not lean itself into, we can just throw another month in there.
Yeah, and it is just unfortunate, because I've heard from I think Julian, you actually told me this.
Yes.
Of Junpei's, specifically his social link in that game, and how it's just great with talking about like his father and stuff like that. And when I heard that, I was like, man, I'm actually like so sad I missed out on that, because it wasn't the new version.
It is.
His linked episode had some of that, but like it wasn't the full package. Like there were some allusions to it, but like it didn't mention everything from the social link.
Because Junpei's already my GOAT, and I would have loved to learn more about my GOAT.
Junpei's my GOAT for real. We definitely have to talk about the party members later on.
Junpei,
for sure.
Junpei, when he sees a shadow, I'd crit that.
I think in general, the social links in Portable for the male party members help them a lot. Like, whenever you're talking about a character in Persona in general, especially if they're from the main party, a lot of learning about their full character is done by, doing their entire social link. This can be said about basically any Persona game, 3, 4, 5. You learn so much about them through their social link that, it's part of their character and their identity. So 3 Reload missing out on that for the male party members is a little unfortunate, but the social links, the linked episodes do its best to kind of mediate that. You still get these nice interactions and you get to learn a little more about the character, maybe not as much as a social link, but it's overall, in my opinion, a welcome change, because again, as Guy was saying, like, it's not something they could have just added these social links. It would have really messed up with the structure of the game. So as a compromise solution, I think this was sort of the best thing they could have done.
Yeah, I did really love all the linked episodes. I thought they were very well written. Story-wise, they were great. But
for sure.
I know they have some execution problems that I know Guy wants to get into. I know he has some opinions on them.
You already know it. Yeah,
Take the floor.
Okay, I love the social links. I think they are the best part about the game, if I'm gonna be real. The linked episodes, however, I think are also fantastic, but as I mentioned before, the game has a very strict calendar system that was perfectly balanced by its social link system and maxing out social stats. The link episodes, however, they're added to the game without any changes to the calendar whatsoever, and they take up a time slot, a precious time slot. Ooh, I had some problems with that.
Oh, yeah, me too.
The biggest problem with it is that, why couldn't they just do what you do with Elizabeth? Like, Elizabeth has sort of linked episodes, but she doesn't take up the time. So why couldn't they just do that?
I feel like
that would have been good.
Yeah, I feel like the best remedy as well would have been just to move these linked episodes to nighttime for everyone. I know Akihiko's linked episodes were mainly at night, which helped a lot.
Ken's.
But if you made all these linked episodes happen at nighttime, it would have really helped alleviate the problem, since you really only have 2 social links in the entire game that are accessible at night, and one of them auto levels up regardless of what persona you have and what dialogue choices you make. So, it would have.
I think beyond nighttime, some of them are only available during school time as well. So even during the day, if you're off on break, you can't do some of them like Junpei's. I know that was a really big problem with his, especially because his was very time focused as well, depending on story events.
It just really sucks, because I think it's a suitable replacement for them not having social links. It's just, I really, really wish that they were just a little more fine-tuned.
Yeah, well, especially because they take up a time slot, but the reward you get isn't as major either. Because like with regular social links, like we mentioned, when you level them up, you can get more experience when you fuse certain personas that link up to the same arcana as that character. And eventually, once you get to rank 10, you can fuse a powerful persona or like the ultimate persona of that arcana.
Yeah.
With the linked episodes, don't really get much. Some of them may give you an item. All of them eventually let you fuse some personas, though an issue I have with that is a lot of the personas you unlock by fusing just aren't super powerful. They aren't worth all the effort, especially because some of them are very low level for what you eventually for when you eventually unlock them. Like I know with Junpei's, it was like a level 60 persona. I was like level 80. I'm like, why the fuck would I fuse this?
And the other thing is that because they don't have, arcanas, you don't get that bonus XP either. So it really does sometimes just feel a little fruitless.
Yeah, so like,
it's like
you
what's the
do
point
them
of
for
this?
story, but it doesn't really have the same gameplay balance that ties back into the combat.
Yeah, and that's just really unfortunate.
Yeah, like with my playthrough, I was able to get I was able to complete every social link, but I just realized that like the link episodes just were not giving me anything for like my fucking anything that was worth my time, and it sucked because I wanted to see where these characters were going and like what their little arcs like had them go through. But unfortunately, I just could not experience all of them. I couldn't experience Junpei, fucking what's his face,
Akihiko, Aragaki, Shinjiro.
No. Who
Ken?
is the guy that shows up in November?
The guy who Ryoji.
Ryoji. I was not able to experience Ryoji, Junpei's, or Aragaki's linked episodes because of the restrictions with using a day slot, and that sucks. That really fucking sucks because I want to know more about these characters and like how they function as people. And I just wasn't able to get that.
Some of them have really major events too that can like shake up the story. Like Junpei's social link very much changes up one of the major events of the game for his character as well. That eventually,
I didn't get that.
That eventually too really like his aspirations for eventually the finale. It really solidifies them as well and him as a character. So like it kind of sucks that like it's entitled that, and I have a little rant as well because, I've played a good amount of Persona games before 3, so like I wanted to do everything, and I want to do all the social links, but all the linked episodes. But Junpei specifically, I was so pissed at because like I loved it, but if you did all of Junpei's linked episodes, yeah, at the last month of the game, when you're trying to complete the last social links, if you did all of them, you're rewarded with a new cutscene. That's great. Here's the problem. It randomly takes out a time slot that you had no idea would occur. So any social link you're going to do on that day is taken out. And for me, that resulted in I was one social link rank away from like fully getting every social link in the game done because of that one specific event.
And by the way, that cutscene is really bad in my opinion for like the whole story of the game.
Really?
So,
that's I think that's a hot take because it's one of my favorites.
I actually really like that. I was about to say I think that's a hot
Y'all
take.
Like it? Okay, well I'll talk to you guys about it after.
Yeah, we can't get into it right now. It's very spoilery.
I am very surprised. Like most people share the same sentiment, at least as from what I've seen as myself. So I'm very surprised. Yeah.
So from what you very like limitedly described, I do see your point already, but we'll get into that after the
we can't do it now. That is very much a gigantic spoiler.
But for those that know,
what you're talking about.
Well, you'll know
this
soon.
Guy never did it because guys, everyone point and laugh at Guy because he never got it. Oh, Lamau, you didn't get the cutscene.
Yeah, no, guys, some of us got the platinum while also getting the cutscene.
So true.
That's kind of embarrassing, Guy. I can't believe you didn't get the super awesome secret cutscene.
I'm gonna commit Persona 3 to myself.
But yeah,
burn your dread, guy. Burn your dread.
We've touched up on characters for a little bit. Do we want to like maybe like go one by one with like the main party and talk a little about the?
Maybe not one by one for the time we have left, that and just the amount of characters, but I would like to just delve into at least some of the party members we really enjoyed a little more.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think maybe maybe like the trio, the first trio is really nice. Obviously, Makoto Yuki, phenomenal protagonist in my opinion. He's a silent protagonist.
Yeah, it's incredible, like how, because you know a lot of people kind of give like game journalists especially love to give a lot of shit to silent protagonists, but if they are done right with able to sort of show their emotions even if they don't speak, Makoto Yuki, great example. And another great example, Samus in Metroid Dread, another very good example of a silent protagonist being able to show so much emotion through animations and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of times it comes down to like JRPGs, because JRPGs it's very common to have silent protagonists, and for how massive those games are and usually how story focused they are, it can be a bit odd to like not have the protagonist speaking. I think that's where a lot of it comes from. Because Samus, I really wouldn't even notice all that much, because you just jump into the gameplay immediately, just with trying to fight all the enemies. There isn't as much like character interaction in it. There are some very important character interactions, yes, but it's not nearly as focused on its story as like Persona is or other JRPGs are.
Yeah, I get that, but Makoto Yuki, he's the GOAT. He's one of the best protagonists in video games, even though he's a silent protagonist.
No, I definitely agree. I think
I do like him as a silent protagonist more than others. I generally don't like silent protagonists all that much, but I do feel like Makoto was done well.
Is Brewer a game journalist?
It's a very much like action.
No, I can actually beat Cuphead's tutorial. I'm not a game journalist.
I'm gonna make the exact same joke. Oh my god!
That and I beat the final boss in the rest of the game. I'm actually good at video games.
I was literally about to make the exact same joke. Brewer, I think we're the same person.
I read your mind.
From first Elden Ring to making the exact same joke, are we actually like psychically connected?
Possibly.
Oh my god.
That's really fucking funny. Yeah, no, Makoto Yuki, like, okay, like, when I was going into Persona 3, I had played 4 and 5 prior to playing P3, so I wasn't expecting, like, you know, a phenomenal character that I would just, you know, goon over every single day, like it was, you know, Jesus' second coming. But I actually exited the game just absolutely having my mind blown, because of how like well written he is as a protagonist, which is insane because again he is a silent protagonist, and especially with the ending and the impact that it has, oh my god.
Yeah, I think the connection the protagonist does have to the rest of the characters really does help heighten just his importance.
And it's
for sure.
It's a rare case where it kind of feels believable that like all these characters really enjoy Makoto Yuki, the silent protagonist, whereas like it feels very forced in other games where it's like, oh, everyone really loves you for the sake of convenience because you're the main character. It really feels like Makoto Yuki shows a lot of kindness, and you know, a lot of people appreciate that, and they reciprocate that same kindness towards him.
Well, I do like in 3, like especially compared to some of the other games, like with the specific social links and linked episodes, like how much more I feel like player choice you have. Like not a whole lot, but like there are some linked episodes where like you have to do specific things. Like Junpei's, you actually do need to buy a specific item at some point and give it to him, which you will understand if you played a linked episode, unlike Guy, because you'll understand what to do, and it actually makes sense for the story, like why it actually helped him. And same with a lot of the other characters, you directly involve yourself in their lives, and that helps them out.
Yeah. But
oh god, but Junpei, can I get on to Junpei real quick?
Yeah, because I'm gonna spend a lot of time on Igus.
Yeah, no, I really love Junpei and Yukari, but Junpei I just favor a little more, just because I feel like him as a character, like I mentioned, all the characters are very down to earth. Junpei, I feel like, is the most realistic in a way, just because of his flaws and whatnot. because Junpei is very imperfect, and he goes through a lot of growth throughout the story. Because at the beginning, it's just like the big idea. He just wants to be the leader. He wants to be popular and whatnot. A lot of times he'll have some kind of selfish goals or throughout the story, he'll say a lot of uncalled shit. It's like, dude, what the fuck did you just say? But, after those things that happen, he does have some regrets for them. And he has his reasons that he did say them. So eventually he comes to grow as a person and realize, hey, what I said was wrong. I'm sorry, man. That was fucked up. He just feels the most realistic to me because, he isn't anyone that, was super major. He isn't some chosen one. He's just another guy like the rest of us. I feel like people can really relate to because he wasn't perfect. He kind of didn't do anything super spectacularly. And he makes mistakes all the time too. Just very human mistakes when he's in a situation like the rest of the party members. That's very above what you would say is in your normal life. Same for Yukari as well, but Junpei, he really connected with me.
Yeah, I think Junpei was one of the ones that connected with me the most as well. Like you said, I think he's a very realistic character. He is not afraid to show his emotions, and whenever he does get heated up, he will and goes a little too far with maybe acting out on those said emotions. He will always go back and apologize for acting irrationally and stuff. So
I feel like that's a good thing all the party members have, is just they're not perfect, they're flawed individuals. They're just trying to figure their way out through a confusing world, especially with the supernatural circumstances they're in. They're not going to be perfect, they're going to make mistakes, they're not always going to be rational, and a lot of times when they're put in stressful situations, they may act out on the people they love even if they didn't really mean to.
I feel like this is a great segue to Yukari because she starts off the game literally liking no one.
Yeah, you're right.
She calls you bitchless. She calls you moneyless. She calls you slurs even.
Yeah,
she fucking hates you.
Yeah,
I have to say, she sounds like Vare from Elden Ring. You are maidenless.
Literally.
Fun fact about Yukari: one of the only characters in fiction to actually call you a slur. It's
so
kind of funny.
It is kind of funny.
Yeah, she does fucking hate you.
Yeah, she kind of hates everyone, all of C's, really, at the very start of the game. And after she learns and, you kind of start understanding her more in her perspective, you can kind of see why she's so much to herself and has a very skeptical nature towards everyone around her. But she slowly, much like the other characters, kind of grows alongside everyone and starts to really form a strong connection with the team. And I think she becomes a pretty good character, and it kind of makes sense that she acts the way she does, at the very start of the game.
She's definitely one of my. I think all the party members are S tier characters. And Yukari is no different. I have, however, heard that she has some. It's not great. She's not great in the answer, which is.
Let's not get into that. Let's not think about the answer for now. This is about the base game.
Don't do this to me.
We can argue about this in maybe the answer video later on.
Yeah, if I play it.
We'll see.
Can I talk about Aegis now?
No, I'm kidding. Talk about the toaster.
Yeah, talk about the toaster.
Aegis is one of my favorite video game characters, as I have said previously. Not only is she has one of the best character arcs I think I've seen ever.
Easily.
So if Brewer's little comment about her being a toaster didn't sort of bring it in, she is a robot, and this is not a spoiler. It's literally shown in the opening animation sort of thing that they do, that she's a robot.
I mean, hell, it's in all the promo material too. If you buy the collector's edition, it's literally a statue of Aegis.
Yeah, she's a robot, and her character arc is that over the course of the game, and the more you do her social link, is that she wants to learn how to be more human, and the game does this in such a cool way, is that the more and more the story progresses, the more and more human she starts to sound. Like, she'll stop being super robotic with her tone. She'll start to sound, more, as I said, more human. And a lot of that is owed to the VA's work of like being able to have that slow sort of turn into being more human sounding, which is great. I love her VA.
Yeah,
Like,
I will
cool.
say the new voice acting changes, the reload, like definitely affected Aegis the most as a character. It definitely benefited her so much.
Yeah, definitely. And I think just in general, the role she serves in the story and to the main character, Makoto Yuki, is incredible. Again, spoiler stuff, so we're not going to go super deep into that. And I just think overall she's such a great character that has so many deep, complex themes like with her. It just really sucks that she's completely ass in combat.
I wouldn't
So
say she's
true.
completely ass.
She is the least useful party member. Like, and
Yeah.
I really hate to say that because I love Aegis, but good God, is she useless. She has no elemental attack. She's only pure physical.
She's
And
decent in bosses, but
For what
normal
it's
party
worth.
going. It doesn't help as well that like the best healer in the game, Yukari, is weak to electric. Aegis is also weak to electric, so if you use Aegis, you have 2 electric weaknesses on your team,
exactly.
and she's supposed to be your tank as well, so like that can really lead into some bad combos if you're not
Yeah.
careful.
For what it's worth,
I like the party system in Reload, but Yukari's necessary. She's the only healer, unless you decided to be the healer. But
No, I mean there is Ken, but
yeah,
realistically, Yukari's just so much better.
Yukari's by far the best.
like it's
but-
not like it's not Sorry, you go first.
Yeah, but
I was
what?
gonna say, yeah, Julian's gonna say something. Yeah.
Oh yeah. What I was gonna say before we move on from the topic is with Aegis not being so great in Reload is something you have to understand is in the original like FES, original portable, Aegis had a unique mechanic exclusive only to her, which was Orgia mode. Orgia mode was a sort of risky option that you could control Aegis to do. And what would happen is for 3 turns, Aegis would become super buffed. And after those 3 turns, she would shut off and she would not be able to do anything for a few turns.
And that's been replaced by her Theurgy, which is
Yes, and now because Theurgy was added, they kind of incorporated it into her Theurgy, which kind of ruined the main mechanic behind Orgia mode in the first place.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like how they implemented diffusion spells into the Theurgy system for the protagonist.
Exactly, yeah.
But I feel like that actually benefited the protagonist in some ways, whereas with Aegis, it kind of made it even more difficult to use that mode, because the mode was probably already difficult to use in the first place, but now it's even trickier since you have to wait for your full meter to charge up.
What also sucks with the Theurgy is that you can't control her actions either.
Yeah.
When she enters that mode, which really sucks. Which, again, I love Aegis to death. I think she's deadass, I will be 100% honest, I think she's the best character in that game. Lots of others are close behind, but I think she's the best character in that game. But good God, does she suck in combat. And I hate it.
A poor toaster. You're right.
Poor toaster.
Poor toaster.
Oh my God.
Okay, so there's also this new mechanic in Tartarus where I'll keep this brief, where you can find this like clock on certain levels if you use if you open a locked chest, and if you go to that clock, you can level up all the 2 characters to the current level of your protagonist. Aegis was always on that list because I never used her because she sucked.
Yeah,
I remember-
leveling in Persona 3 did have some issues, but I feel like that's something I'll talk about another time.
Yeah.
Julian, I remember you watched me play one time and you were asking like, why the fuck is Aegis so low? And I was like, what do you mean?
Okay, but you had her. Okay, here's the main difference. You had her at level like 30 something, while all your party members were at level 60 something. I was concerned for her.
It wasn't that big.
It was pretty. She was literally half the level of like the highest level party member you had.
Oh, did you get? She got to level 60 once I used the clock.
Yeah, no, Reload not having the shared experience always on was something. Again, another topic for a later time, maybe, since we're running out of time. But
to wrap up the characters, I think one last character we should probably talk about is our boy Koromaru.
The best,
so true.
The best dog.
I think he's always a character everyone likes. Like, how can you not like the dog that can summon a persona and has a like literally holds onto a knife in his mouth? He's such a cool, badass little dog.
Yeah, dude, Pokemon was fucking ripping off Persona 3 when they made Zacian.
Actually,
real.
Because Zacian isn't as cool as Koromaru.
Koromaru is literally a fucking dog. Like, he's a dog who can wield a persona, and that's the best thing you could ever ask for.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he's actually very strong in my opinion. If we're talking about combat again, he's actually
he's a very good choice as a party member.
Unironically, one of the strongest party members in the game.
Especially for how strong physical is. His theurgy that buffs physical skills is very good, if not busted.
I used him for the final boss for two main reasons. One, he was busted in combat, and two, he's literally my fucking dog.
He is your dog.
What the dog doing?
Literally has the dog in him. He has a fucking dog persona.
But yeah, there's not much really else to say other than he's just awesome. He's a good boy, and he literally plays like a good boy. His gameplay is really good. Like he's kind of a tank, but has like really good moves and stuff. So yeah,
he's just beast. There's no reason for you not to have Koromaru in your party right now.
True.
Oh yeah. Okay, I think before we get into concluding points, do we want to shout out the music real quick?
Oh yes.
Because I will say, Azumi Takahashi, let's see, what's her name? Let's see, Azumi Takahashi and Lotus Juice, they did a phenomenal job with the soundtrack.
It's so good. My favorite track is the final boss theme. It combines one of the main themes that you will hear a lot in the game because it's the theme for the Velvet Room.
Yeah, not just the 3, but all the Persona games.
Yeah.
No, yeah. It's just, and it's used so well. It gives me chills every time. It's so good.
Dude, it's crazy to think that Aria of the Soul has gotten 2 different battle remixes that both slap: the Smash Bros version and the boss version for Persona 3.
It's so good.
Final bosses that use like the motif of the game just always go hard.
Yeah, dude, the songs are also catchy, but even just like the non-catchy songs, the ones that are meant for more somber, mellow scenes, are so good as well. It really helped with the voice acting as well, and social links to like really make me feel connected to the characters and just what they were going through at the time, since the music matched the tone so well.
For sure.
It's just such a great soundtrack all around.
If I had to pick a favorite, I'd have to give it to Memories of You.
Oh, that was so good.
And
oh my god.
Yeah, that one, in my opinion, is my favorite track in all of Persona. So it's a really good.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry. God damn it,
dude! It's going down now. Like, originally Persona 5 had some of my favorite JRPG battle themes, but I'm pretty sure like It's Going Down now is my favorite because it's so fucking catchy. And then I love the intro to Full Moon, Full Life, just for like the lyrics that represent the game so well, but also it's just a banger song.
Oh, it's such a good song.
I listen to Persona 3 Reload music every single day. I'm not even kidding.
That
It's
is completely
that
fair.
fucking
It's
good.
that good.
I do not blame you in these.
I have this big like playlist that I use whenever I'm in a Discord call, like just chilling and playing video games, and I've got a bunch of Persona songs in there. P3 is a big part of that.
Yeah,
playlist.
dude, my general work playlist has like just 4 Persona 3 songs on it.
If I had to pick a like newcomer song for Reload, "Color Your Night" is definitely my favorite.
I mean, hey, we have that playing in the video, so
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
So
Is that almost constantly?
Yes.
Exactly.
And already for you know, it's already been shown off, and we'll dive, I guess, maybe a little bit into what to expect with the new DLC. But the battle theme for the DLC is already my favorite battle theme in the entire series. I've been listening to it
Is so
nonstop.
good. Oh
I've
my
been listening
God.
to it like every day, at least like 3 or 4 times a day.
Oh yeah.
Dude, what's
Yeah.
really funny is that you sent that to me, and then I immediately played it. Like I completely raw dogged it. Like I didn't even know what it like the sound for it was whatsoever. I completely went into it blind, and I was doing it while I was working out, and I hit a new PB
Dude,
with it. It was
both of us.
that was
Yeah.
counting. Dude, oh my God, it's such a good song.
Yeah. I wish we had a little more time to get into the soundtrack more, but at least we had to shout it out because it's
sure.
so good. At the very least, our biggest
good.
mention of it is all the Persona 3 tracks that have played throughout this video.
Yeah.
Real. Yeah, so if y'all couldn't tell, we like to use Persona 3 music a good amount because guess what? It's really fucking good. If you don't even play this game, like, ever in your life, just bare minimum, listen to some of the music because, oh my God, they cooked.
Oh my god, they cooked so hard.
Oh,
My god.
But,
Okay, well with
yeah,
that, do you guys want to move on to our concluding points for the game?
Yeah.
I think it's about that time. Yeah, I think it's that time of the video where we slow things down a little bit and we just talk about our overall thoughts and concluding points. I will let y'all go first. Julian, I know this is your favorite game, so
Yeah, let's
I
let our
think you
guest
should
go
last.
first.
Well,
Well, first, okay, yeah, I'm down for whatever. I'm
Yeah, I mean,
down
he's,
for whatever.
he's
man.
our guest, so.
well,
Completely fair.
if you haven't played the game, and you know, you're debating on whether to play the game or not, like, I highly recommend you give this game a shot. Like, I know it is, you know, 80 plus hours long, but I'm telling you, this game, like, no joke, has like changed like my outlook on like life in general. As crazy, like, I know that sounds very drastic, but you know, this is how much this game means to me. And you know, it has some of the most inspiring and most beautiful messages I've ever seen in any sort of media. And you know, just even thinking about it makes me like a little sad and stuff, but like in a positive way. So definitely give this game a shot if you haven't. It's my favorite for a reason.
Great points, great points.
Oh yeah.
Can I go next?
Yeah, of course.
This game is, in my opinion, one of the best remakes ever. It visually is incredible. It's so pretty to look at. The music is always banging. The combat is addictive and fun, and the story is one of the best stories I've ever had the pleasure of experiencing in a video game. I don't think it's had the same life-changing effect on me that it has for, you know, Julian and stuff like that, but it definitely has made me think a lot more. It's made me consider, you know, what I'm doing, like what I'm working towards, and just in general, I think it is a game that, if you want to get into Persona, I would definitely suggest this because it's such a great game that personally just means a lot to me.
Fantastic. God, do you want to go, or do you want to go last?
Your choice, bro.
Okay, I guess I'll go right now. Overall, Persona 3 is a game I would wholeheartedly recommend, especially as an avid JRPG lover. There is so much to love here. There's a good balance in the systems to where you won't get torn too much on either one. with the social life aspects and then the dungeon crawling as well. Again, both aspects work very well together because they wouldn't work well alone. But it has fantastic characters that you can relate to and that are going through a lot of the same issues you may be going through as well to really kind of help you just figure your way out through life. It has a fantastic story with a fantastic message at the end overall that even got me to tear up a little. It has addictive combat as well and just a good general gameplay loop that's going to keep you engaged even when the story is kind of just slowing down a little. Either way, it is a game I will wholeheartedly recommend. Please play it. Genuine 10 out of 10.
That's awesome, man. Dude, God. I'll get into my points now. I ditto what you say, man. Like, this game, I played the previous modern Persona games before this, referring to Persona 5 and Persona 4. Persona 5 is my favorite game of all time, and I knew I was going to enjoy Persona 3 going into it, but my expectations were already high, yet they still not only exceeded those expectations, but went above and beyond what I expected of it. It was a game that not only made me reconsider, like, how valuable life is, it just made me appreciate everything.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, I'm referring to a game where you put a gun to your fucking head and yell Persona. Yes, this game made me rethink my existence.
Hey, it makes sense story-wise.
It does.
It does.
Play the game, people. You'll find out why we put guns to our heads to summon Greek mythology.
But yeah, no, this game, like, it's my current game of the year for a fucking reason. Like, I assuming that goes for everyone in here as well.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And there's just a reason why this game, like, though we criticized it throughout this video for, you know, its shortcomings, that should not reflect just how high the fucking peaks are of this game. If this video just hasn't sold y'all enough on, like, what this game is and just how important it is to us, please just at least look up a video and give it a shot, because genuinely one of the best games I've ever played, and I hate that I'm never going to be able to play a game like this ever again. And
yeah,
that's unfortunate, but Persona 3 did teach this. You only get to do things once, so make it worthwhile. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching today's episode. Julian, thank you again, oh my god, for coming on another fantastic episode. We thank you so much for wanting to do this and willing to just talk with fucking virgins for like an hour and a half straight about video games, dude. We thank you so much for it.
Well, thank you for having me on here. It's always a pleasure. I love talking about my favorite video games, and this podcast is great. So
yeah, I mean, hey, Persona 3 was very important on just the bonds you have with your friends. So I mean, hey, bonding right now by talking about a fantastic video game, I think it's just a great time, because I think for all of us, it's the game that like taught us how to live in a sense.
It did, and
yeah,
it really just, I think about it every day. I really do. But what you guys should be thinking about right now is pressing that subscribe and like button if you like this kind of content and want to see more of it. And comment down below what your favorite moment in Persona 3 was, or maybe some potential Persona-esque content we might make in the future if you want to see that. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching today's episode. This is a very special game for us, and I know we were very passionate to talk about it. So thank you for joining us on this little venture of ours with Persona 3 Reload. Thank you guys very much for watching. See you later.
Goodbye.
Peace.
Bye, everybody.